Hey, welcome back to Church Podcast, man. We're so excited that you're here. It's going to be an amazing talk today. We're going to have a great conversation about a topic that I think we all deal with at some level. If you're alive, you're dealing with this topic. And today's topic is love. We're going to talk about what is it? Is it a feeling? Is it an action? How do you receive it? How do you know when you really have it? And where does it come from? So, from my perspective, love is not just something you say, but it's something that you commit to and something that you do. Because words, they do hurt us. Somebody came up with that thing, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Words will
Yeah.
destroy you. Like words
Yeah.
are bullets that you can't get back. Words do hurt. But when it comes to love, words just don't do it justice. I mean, you could tell someone you love them, you can write that you love them. But when it comes to love, I believe love is a true action. It's something that you have to commit yourself to. It's something that you have to, that flows from you. And also, I also think it's something that people try to counterfeit, but you just can't counterfeit it forever. You know, your true intentions come out. And so today we're going to talk about that. Jason, I'm going to toss this ball over to you.
Yeah.
What do you think love really is? Like,
So I believe love is a choice.
ooh,
So here's what I think happens.
that's a
I
good
think
one.
we're created. Thanks, man. I think we're created with just a hole in our lives, right? And I
Mhm.
think that hole is God shaped, and I think that's who's looking to fill it. And we have to choose that thing. We are opening the door,
Mhm.
and we are choosing what goes in that God shaped hole in our heart.
Yeah.
And God is giving us an opportunity to choose it because then that plays out his design of free will, right? God says, I'm not going to force you to love me. I'm going to leave a gap in your life. You should fill me. You should fill that hole in your life with me. Cool.
Mhm.
So what we do as humans is we learn, we grow. Maybe we come up in a generation where the generation before us has a relationship with God, so we're able to follow that path. If you don't know, I think you start from an early age trying to fill that God-shaped hole with anything you can.
Ooh.
I think you search and you try to find, and you had mentioned like kind of looking elsewhere. And I think no matter what kind of love we're talking about, um, whether it's faith, whether it's romantic, whether it is familial, right?
Mm.
Like your wife and kids. Well, wife is mix of romantic, I suppose, but with your kids, with the people around you, with your communal love, right? The community that's
Mhm.
built around you. All of these things, they are not the love that goes to and comes from your creator.
Mm.
So the most important one, right? Like faith-based or whatever you're saying, like there's other religious beliefs that I think people try to pour in. There's religious practices. There are, um, man, so many mythologies and um, I guess stories that we tell to try to fill this area of our life,
Mhm.
to try to make sense of what's going on.
Yeah.
So maybe, and when people saw love as the kind of cover or the
Mhm.
title of this episode, and as you introduced it, I'm sure that's not where they suspected that I'd be going first. But to me, in
I
every
did.
area, right? Thank you. In every area, it's a choice. So
Absolutely.
God allows you to choose. Um, as I met and grew even more fonder of the woman that would become my wife,
Mhm.
I had to choose to spend time with her.
It's good.
When I go home at the end of the day, I don't always make the best choice because I have to choose to pay attention to my children,
Mhm.
right? Not get distracted by my phone or X or what's going on in politics or what's going on with Bitcoin or what's going on with all these different interests I have. It doesn't matter who's playing in the football game. If you're ignoring your kids
Mhm.
and missing out on relationship,
Yeah.
I don't know that that's the healthiest choice.
Come on.
So this is me trying to convict me, by the way, because I know this is what happens, right? So you get to choose what you're passionate about. You
Mm.
get to choose what you're fond of. And that's really what love is.
Mm.
Like what love ends up being is a choice for your energy and your time, right? You choose where your energy and your time go. And that's, man, I love blank.
Mhm.
right? Typically, we don't say, I love something, and that thing is not something we put time and energy behind. In
Yeah.
fact, I can't even think of an example because you could even say, like, I love the grind. I love working hard,
Mhm.
right? Well, for some people, that's not true. That hard work is like a real deep challenge, but you love it because you're putting time and energy into it, right? So it's kind of like, where's the treasure of your heart?
Mhm.
Right? I like your life will reflect the things you actually care about. So, for instance, let me just give an example. If you say, "Man, I love people," and you never leave your house and you don't interact with anybody unless you have to,
Yeah.
I could argue, I don't know that
You love
you
it.
love people.
Yeah.
Um, maybe you're trying to convince yourself, and that's okay. And I don't mean to call anybody out but myself, but like if I say I love being physically fit,
Ooh.
then you need to be working toward physical fitness
This.
because here's the truth. I could say I love being physically fit,
Mm.
but what maybe I'm saying, if I'm not working toward it, and thank God that I am now, um, I guess I should be saying, if I'm not working toward it, I love the idea. I love the results of physical fitness. I would
Ooh.
love positive attention because I have a physique I like. But do
Ooh.
you really love physical fitness when you dive not into a pool to swim, but dive into a bag of your favorite potato chips?
Ooh.
You know? So anyway,
I
I
gotta.
love being healthy requires what? Time and energy. So
Ooh.
over to you. I think love is a choice of where you put your time and energy, and maybe that then extrapolates out to
Mhm.
trust, that extrapolates out to relationship.
Yeah.
But I know to get to know my wife in order to marry her, I know to be able to have a better relationship with you, Warren. I know to be able to output things at work that I really enjoy, and like, man, you love your job. Well,
Mhm.
like I bet I can look at your life and say whether that's true or not, because
Mhm.
wherever your time and energy is, that is where you are passionate about. That's what you love.
Woo. You know, Jason, I knew you were going that angle. I was like,
Yeah.
"Yep, let's kick this off because
Okay.
Jason's
All
going to
right.
that angle." Because I believe in keeping the main thing.
Mhm.
And I mean, we're like in lockstep here. Love is a choice, and love is an action. It's something you do. You have
Yeah.
to choose. You can't be hot and cold, right? Right? You don't want to be lukewarm, right? You got to be. It's
Right.
either or, right? I think in life we struggle, and this is in our Christian walk here. I'll be very specific, right? This is in
Mhm.
our walk with God, in our walk with Jesus, right? I think we struggle because we say we love Him, we call ourselves Christian,
Mm.
but if you look at how we allocate our time and our
Yeah.
energy, I mean, some of it is truncated just to Sunday. And
Mhm.
some of that is like I serve on a team and I'm in a group, right? And I do these things that the church has told me to do, right? But we're missing that personal element. Like, do you really
Yeah.
pray? Like, do you have a personal prayer program? Like times where you spend with God? Do you really read the Bible outside of Sunday morning when the pastor's giving you 10 scriptures or when you're preparing for a group? Like,
Mm.
where's the personal connection of your relationship? Because you kind of touched on it. Kind of like, you gave us the example of, when you met your wife and spending time with her before she was your wife, in order to, you know, and so Jesus calls us the bride, right? So if we're not spending time, personal time, getting to know God for ourselves, not what church tells us, not what the group talks about, it's what you know, right? You don't build relationships off of what other people tell you. No one has to tell me about you, Jason. You're my best friend. I know you. I've spent time with you. We've
Yeah.
we've weathered storms. That's if somebody was like, "Hey man, this guy is really good. You guys should be best friends." That just doesn't work. If someone else told me everything about you, right? That doesn't
Mm.
give me a personal connection to you. It just gives me, their experience of you. And it's kind of the same way in church. Sometimes we have, I think, outsourced our relationship with
It's really
Jesus
good.
and we've
Yeah.
put it on the church to keep us connected, right? But that
Yeah.
doesn't give us true love. Like that doesn't give us, so true love is a choice. It's choosing to get in God's word, not to be able to tell other people about it, but so that I have it in my heart so that that it's with me. I spend time with God because I love Him, not because I need a blessing, not because I'm afraid of going to hell, but because I love Jesus. He loved me first, And I'm excited about the fact that he saved me. I'm excited about getting to know the God of the universe and putting that type of effort into that relationship. And so I think that as Christians, we struggle because I've been there, times where life gets distracting, and what I'm saying with my mouth, declaring who I am, isn't line up. It's not lining up with what I do,
Yeah.
right? And I'm so glad that God loves us, you know, when our love doesn't measure up, because I don't think our love ever will measure up. But He shows us how to love because He's always there, regardless if
Yeah.
we're if you spend months, and your relationship with God really just becomes, kind of transactional. Go to
Mhm.
church, go to Droop. I feel good about it when I leave on Sunday, and I'm not really growing. I'm just kind of maintaining in my faith walk, but I'm not growing in Christ. The thing is, God is always there, and in relationship, you're gonna come to a point where um, there's an opportunity for you to stray away, or an opportunity for you to kind of break off. Right? What keeps
Sure.
relationships together is the one person who refuses to stray away. It's kind of
Mhm.
hard to walk away from someone who won't walk away from you,
Right.
because you can kind of stray away, but but when you have two people, like, okay, I'll let you go, but God continues to pursue us even when we go away from Him. He's pursuing us, but it's our
Mhm.
choice to come back to Him, and that's what I love about the love of God. Doesn't matter what you've done, where you've been, who you are, what your reputation is. He's always there for you. Now, don't
Yeah.
confuse his omnipresence with the fact that you may not have as much time as you think to come back to Him. Don't confuse the
It's
fact
true.
that God's always there with the promise that you have an hour or two, or tomorrow, or next week, to start building this relationship, repent from your sins, and come back to Jesus. He's always there, but you don't always have time. And you don't know how much time you have, right? So don't take for granted the fact that the love of God is always there. But you must choose it. Don't don't
Yeah.
don't let life pass you up without getting that choice. So I love the fact that we kind of kick that off, and just that kind of piece that together, because I think that's the foundation of love. Um, if you want to know how to love, read in what Jason would say, read the red letters. Okay,
That's right. That's right.
read. What I'm saying? If you don't know how to read the Bible, read the red letters. All
Yeah,
right,
get
that's
a
what
red letter
Pastor
Bible.
Jason said. That's where you start. Open it up, get to the red letters, and you'll start
Right.
seeing the love of Jesus. Emulate, try to be like that. Walk like that, talk like that. You won't. It won't take you wrong. So.
Yeah. That's really good. Yeah. The funny thing that I thought of as you were talking about it is when you're in your worst spot, like the
Mm-hmm.
thing I have found over and over again, and maybe I just don't like that it is over and over again, but when I'm in my worst mental spots, when I'm in
Mm-hmm.
my biggest struggle, I think God's love is annoying. Like you were talking about not going away, like I feel like it's that
That's
that
good.
buddy, that friend who's like he's just tapping you on the shoulder
Yeah.
all the time, and when you're in a bad way, you're like, "Man, what do you want?"
Yeah.
And then here's the best part about God, you turn around and he's still patient with you.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Hey, I'm just here." And you're like, "You know what? I did need it. I did.
Yeah.
I'm so thankful you're annoying, God." Like, I'm so thankful that annoying in the best sense where you just will not abandon us. You won't leave us
Yeah.
alone. And I think love can be annoying in that way. Like, my kids would probably say that the way that I love them is annoying
Mm-hmm.
because I challenge them to be better.
It's good.
This really interesting thing happens sometimes in public, and I say this with all humility, but and my wife probably deserves even more credit than I do for
Mm-hmm.
these kind of things. But like our kids get great compliments about being respectful,
Mm-hmm.
about being diligent, about all these things that we really care that they are. But then sometimes at home, I'm challenged because the same activity isn't happening. Like, would I say that of my kids when I see them sometimes at home? And sometimes the answer is no.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's this really interesting thing that, like, maybe the when even I feel like I'm being annoying about my kids learning honor and respect and hard work and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
it pays off on the back end.
Oh.
Um, but in the moment,
Mm.
I'm sure that I'm annoying.
Yeah.
Like, "Dad, can you give us a break on, laundry?" Like, "Well, no, if we take a break, it stacks up and we're not.
Mhm.
So I think like truth and love as the combination, sometimes that is annoying when you just don't want to hear the truth. You just don't.
Mm.
I would rather relax into what I'm doing, be told that I'm doing the right thing all the
Mhm.
time, and then I won't have to worry about it. I'll
Yeah.
never have to consider if there's any way that I can love others better, if I can do better things for myself.
Mhm.
Whatever that ends up looking like, however much I need more God in my life, sometimes it's easier to ignore it in the short
Mm.
term, right? In the short term, but it's not actually loving long term
Mm.
because it ends up, the wheels fall off and things go sideways. So,
Mm.
anyway, that's just what I thought of when you were talking about walking away or not. Like sometimes love in an interesting way, like even really healthy love can feel annoying,
Mm.
especially when someone else trying to break away.
It's good.
So, um, man, I'm grateful for it. Like love in all forms and capacities is great,
Mhm.
but God's love is like really, really powerful.
Come on.
So
Come
I'm
on.
gonna I'm gonna kick it back to you for a sec. I just wanted to add that little like tidbit in there that it just struck me. It was almost funny. If you go back and watch the tape, I was smiling because I was thinking like it's kind of annoying, right? Like when
Yeah.
you just want to do the wrong thing
Yep.
and you don't want requirements on your life
Mhm.
or you don't want to consider like
Ooh.
ways you need to improve,
Yeah.
it's kind of annoying to have that echo in your head, like,
Yeah.
this is not
This
okay."
is not okay.
What you're doing is not the right thing, so and
This is not
it's not
okay.
best for you. So,
That's
anyway,
tough.
yeah,
I
yeah,
love it, man. I love it. The foundation of love, Jesus. If you don't have a relationship with Jesus, man, I invite you. Don't wait. Start today.
right.
Start today. I love it because that's the foundation of love. God teaches us how to love,
Mhm.
but then we have this human condition going on.
Yeah.
And I love it because over my years of experience, walking with God hasn't been a perfect journey. It's been a brutal, uh, it's been downright brutal at
Yeah.
times. I've learned that I cannot put expectations on my life
Mm.
that I think I can live up to, that I can operate the way Jesus did. I want to,
Yeah.
and it sounds really good, and it's been preached to me, and I've shared it with people, and that's the goal. But here's the reality of things. If I could do it without him, I wouldn't need him. And so to really have love, you got to have Jesus in your life. You got to have God
Yeah.
flowing through your life. This human condition that we're down here and we are trying to have a perfect love in an imperfect world with imperfect people.
Yeah.
There's a couple of landmines that I believe we should discuss today that
Okay.
can steer us away from God. And there's a
Mm.
couple directions that will turn us into God when we're dealing with people. So in romantic relationships,
Mhm.
um, I've been um, a victim of this mentality. Being in a romantic relationship and my relationship with God suffering because
Mm.
I'm giving more power to the romantic relationship than my relationship with God. So I've learned
Yeah.
to balance that. Always keep God the main thing. That's why I'm glad we started this pod the way we did, right? Um, and to also understand that nothing comes before God, and then nothing comes before me and God, and
Mm.
romantic relationship comes, after. It doesn't come before me. You know, it comes. I flow through God, and then because I'm in God, I'm able to flow love downward. It
Yeah.
doesn't flow upward, right? I can't put the person up here and then try to love them up here because that's where God is, right?
Yeah.
And so, in romantic relationships, Jason, talk to us a little bit about like how do you unpack that situation? What have you learned? What works? I mean, you have a great, huge family,
Yeah.
amazing wife. She's amazing. Shout out.
Yeah. Shout out, Elliot.
Let's
Yeah.
go.
Appreciate you, girl.
And so, and so,
I got you. Yeah.
you got me. And so talk to us a little bit about how unpack that a little bit about how you connect those two. Um,
Yeah. So for me, I actually got asked this question the other day. Shout out to my buddy Harry Lovett. And
let's go, Harry.
he was just sitting there and we were talking um in his office and I don't even remember exactly how the conversation got prompted, but I mentioned something about my wife and I doing marriage counseling,
Mhm.
um, and for different couples, whether it's premarital or, um, struggles in their marriage. And so he was like, "So what's the key? Like, give us like the 30-second um, spiel." And I was like, "It's actually super easy, but it's very hard to nail these two things." But the I guess the way to define a healthy marriage, the two categories, the two things that if you have these two things, it will change everything about all the rest of it. Ready? Genuine friendship and open and honest communication.
Mm,
That's it. Friendship, like real friendship, not
okay.
pretend, and real communication.
Okay.
Not pretend, not surface level, like honest and open communication. So, you and I, Warren, can be in communication with each other, right? But it could be hateful. Like,
Mhm.
we could be honest about how we feel,
Mhm.
but it doesn't have to have a basis in friendship.
Mhm.
In On the flip side of that, you and I can have a friendship where we spend time together, we go to dinner, and then every conversation could be, "Hey, did you see the game last night?"
Mhm.
Right? "Hey, dude, I love the shoes you're wearing. That's awesome." And by the way, there's some friendships like that in life where it's just kind of like a casual,
Mhm.
relaxed, maybe it's not the iron sharpening iron. I think everybody has friends like that where it's just like, "Man, it's good to see you. Maybe we'll develop a deeper friendship later," but there's only a certain amount of time in the day, and
Mhm.
there's billions of people on Earth. So
Yeah.
the odds that you are best friends with 8 billion other people is just impossibility.
Ain't happening.
So, yeah, God brings people into your life, and I think you've said this before, but, like, reason I for what's the phrase? Like, they're bringing them in for a reason, a
Uh,
season, and
a
blah, blah,
reason,
that.
a
Yeah,
season, um,
and then I
and
can't remember what
some
the other
people
but
are
basically short, midterm, long term,
yeah.
right? That's the idea. So, for me, the ones that are awesome, maybe this is true for everybody, is the long-term ones. What you have to do to maintain those awesome long-term friendships
Mhm.
is put energy in to the friendship, like just spending time, but also be honest, open communication.
Mhm.
So extrapolate that out into your romantic relationship, which in theory and in practice, I'm hoping that's my longest friendship. I'm hoping that
Mhm.
is the most permanent relationship because that's the one I chose to tie my life to.
Mhm.
Um, I have to spend time and be honest. I have to have a friendship where we're really building up one another, we're really sharing time together, and the way to do that is be willing to struggle through honest communication even when it's difficult.
Mm.
And so to reverse kind of the idea of that, you talked about learning from romantic relationships. Thankfully, and I really mean this, ours has not been a struggle at a high degree in that way, but to see other couples struggle with one or the other of those kind of 2 categories.
Mhm.
We've sat in front of couples across the chairs from us, and man, they can communicate because 'cause they'll let you know minute 1. I mean,
Wow.
we're not even on the topic yet, right? So we go through kind of a series, called Prepare and Enrich,
Mhm.
and so Prepare and Enrich is like, um you take kind of a test, like a personality
Mhm.
test, a relationship test, and it gives you all of these and there's enough questions where it just brings all of these 10 to 12 categories to bear, and
Mhm.
you see if you agree or disagree, but as the counselors, you get a score. Like, you see kind of privately the truth of what's going on in the relationship as
Mhm.
long as these people are honest with you, and that's the point of counseling. If you're going to counseling and not being honest, like, why go?
Mhm.
Like, just don't. So, what, what you find out is there are some couples where even before you start talking about finances, even before you start talking about these different categories, they're ready to tell you the ways that their partner has failed miserably. They are
Mm.
honest in their communication, in their assessment of what's going on. It doesn't
Mm.
make that always true, but they are honest with you.
Mhm.
Man, they're not friends. Like, they're
Mm.
ready to shoot barbs at each other.
Talk about
They're
it.
married, right? They're
Wow.
married. They're ready to, like, throw slings and arrows. Um, but, like, you could argue that armies across time, like, the deadliest wars in human history, um, those countries were in communication with each other, right?
Mm.
Like, they're communicating their feelings through, uh, military strength, military. They're communicating through financial investment, military investment, on
Yep.
and on, right? But nobody would argue that they're like high level friends, right?
Mm.
At the same time, I spent years with people through high school and college and all these things, and I know that we could mince words about, like, is it really friendship depending on how deep you go? Maybe it's an
Yeah.
acquaintance, right? But that's kinda what I'm saying is, like, I spent years with people, and I would call them friend, but at the end of the day, I don't know how they feel about the depth of, you know, their political views or
Mhm.
their views on, for instance, like the things you and I dive into in this podcast.
Mhm.
This is us really communicating with people, but also fleshing out our friendship, our
Mhm.
views. We're sharing life together and talking and discussing. So to me, that's the thing is like you get to choose at what level you are a friend and you get to choose at what level you communicate. But if you dive in, if you make a commitment to get to the depths that are possible in this life of friendship and communication with someone, I think, and I can't think of why it wouldn't work, you're going to have a healthy romantic relationship.
Mm.
So, no matter what your past history is with romance or what's happened, if both parties can commit to a real friendship and real communication that where the friendship's not on the line. So if I'm honest with you, you're not done being
Yeah.
friends. And if we're working on being friends, you don't feel like you have to lie to me in our communication, right?
Mhm.
Those two things kind of like going back and forth. We're showing each other respect and love,
Yeah.
right? I mean, it's gonna work. Like,
Yeah.
it's not a hard formula. What's hard is the practice.
Mm.
What's hard is the day-to-day, like, making that choice. Like I said, love is a choice. You choose every day. I could lie to her when she asked me that.
Mm.
I could lie to him and make sure he doesn't find out about that, or you can make a choice like, I'm gonna be honest upfront. I'm gonna over communicate because I care so much about that friendship. And by the way, that is the can we be real? That's the basis of, like, romantic relationships. It has to start as a friendship. You
Yeah.
have to get to know each other. Now listen, you should also be physically attracted to the person, right? That's gonna make for a healthier relationship too. But, I mean, so let me say my first interaction with my wife was looking left out of my driver's side window and noticing how cute she looked in her outfit. Let's say it that way. That's the most respectful way I can say that. So,
Very respectful. Good job,
that
Jason.
was my first thank you, I appreciate it. But that's not what's going on in my head because 'cause I'm a fallen man.
Fallen
Anyway,
man.
so what I'm saying is, uh, looking out that window and being like, "Well, I would certainly like to develop a friendship with that person,"
Mhm.
right? And see where that goes. That's the initial, what would you call it? Initial interaction. Though
Mhm.
she wasn't a part of that, I was like, "Oh, man, okay,
Yeah.
pursuing friendship time." So you get to choose. And by the
You
way,
do.
that's, like, true of everybody. You look at
Mhm.
somebody, you get to choose, like, I can walk up to them, approach them, see what's going on, or I could not. Like,
Mm.
you don't it's not really all that complicated, but then at every interval so you and I, Warren, at every interval, we get to choose, at what level we maintain our friendship and our communication, right?
Mm.
And those things can in all seriousness, and I hope this isn't true, but over time they can waver. You and I live separately from one another, so
Mhm.
we'll catch up, right? We're not like the day to day. What I know with my wife, those things should not be wavering.
Mm.
Like those things, you are choosing this romantic relationship that will be the basis and foundation of your life. You guys will have a spiritual walk together, all these
Mhm.
things. Like you tie yourselves together in marriage, man, our friendship should not be wavering. And if it is, I need to do something about it. And for certain, our communication should not be wavering.
Yeah.
It should not be a mystery. I'm okay, Warren, if I miss a story or two from your day to day and we catch up 3 days later, 4 days later, a
Yeah.
week later. If I'm missing day to day with my wife,
Yeah.
like what's happening?
Yeah.
Even when I'm on the road and I'm in a different time zone, I'm
Mhm.
still checking in
Checking in.
on this most important relationship. Why? Because when I choose to love my wife, that's where my time and energy has to go.
It's good.
So that was super long-winded. I apologize to those listening.
You
Actually, for
unpacked that.
those that no. For those that saw Love and they were, like, hoping to get to this romantic part, yeah, like, you coulda just fast forwarded a minute 15 or 20. Now we're getting into the meat maybe, so no apology necessary, I suppose. But, I'm kicking it back to you. So that's where I'm at with romantic love.
That's good. That's
Thanks.
I
Thanks,
like how
man.
you unpack that right there. My overall take on romantic love. I feel that a lot of what you said is foundational, right? Got to be friends. I'll be honest. I've been in relationships where I think I forewent the friend part.
Mm,
It
okay.
was maybe a little fast forwarded, like like maybe
Oh, yeah,
romance first, and then we'll
right.
figure this friendship thing out, you know. And
Like,
then
yeah,
you get to points where you're like, I don't know, person doesn't really
I
like me, you
I'm
know.
with you. Yeah,
And
yeah.
so I'd advise people, hey, have a foundation, get to know somebody, genuinely like them, like, you know, who
Mhm.
they are, you know, their hangups, their issues, because we all got them. Because we're more than just our skin and bones. We're more than the facade that we put on, right? And who we portray ourselves to be, who we really are, right? I like to say
Yeah.
this: the blessing of God is on the real you, not the you show the world, not the you that you want to be, but the blessing of God is on the true you, the you
Mm,
are when nobody's looking, and when there's no lights and cameras. That's where God's blessing is. And so if you start a relationship and you base it on what you show the other person and not who you are, you don't open up, you don't really get um to be honest. I think that's the key thing you kind of talked about. You can have a lot of conversation, but if you're not honest, right? Honest about really who you are, what you believe, what you want, you know, what things hurt you, what things upset you. If you're not honest about that, you can build a false friendship on a lie. And the thing
yep.
about a lie is it will stand for a while. Like you can get away with a lie for a little bit. But the thing about a lie, it always seems to come up eventually. No lie stands forever. Only the
It's true.
truth stands forever, right? I mean, I think we've seen it play out in people's lives. Like people can go decades doing things and lie about who they
Yeah,
are, and then
yeah.
an indictment comes, and you're like, "What? That was all a lie?"
Right. Wait a
You
minute.
know?
Yeah,
No shade to anybody, no shade.
yeah, no
You know,
specific person.
just saying. But the
Yeah,
same thing in relationships. If you're not honest, if you're not if you're not truly who you if you're not truly who you are in the beginning, then you're building that on sand.
mhm,
It's going to fracture, it's going to crack, and God can put anything back together. But it's when you choose wrong, when you choose to do the wrong thing, it's even harder for God to bless something that you don't run through Him. And so
yeah,
I think what you talked about is really concrete, foundational. And anybody listening, you're in a relationship, you're building a relationship, learn to be friends. And
that's right.
if you can't get that down, run.
Yeah, if
Just
the no, and here's
don't
hold on.
force it.
Yeah, yeah,
There's a thing where people just like we get wrapped around a wheel, and I believe that we try to make things happen. And I think
yeah,
that's the wrong approach. I've done that before in my life. It does not work. It does. You cannot put, you know, a square peg in a round hole. You can try. You can
mhm,
beat it up. You can and maybe you can, you know, force it, but eventually it's just not going to work. And so follow God's example of love. And then when it comes to dealing with romantic love, the foundation of friendship is super important. Forgo the romantic part. Forgo, and this is going to be controversial. Forgo sexual relations. Forgo because
right,
if you go that route, that may be amazing, and you're like, I'll base my whole life on this.
right.
That's a that's a disaster waiting to happen. Have discipline, have patience, and save that for the marital covenant. Like because that will skew
That's
your
real.
view of that person. That will
Yes.
give you emotional ties, and long term, you know, you won't be able to make objective decisions because you have the other soul ties going on wrapped in there. So
Yep.
romantic love is not easy.
Yeah,
Um, you need God to navigate that. But the person that you're with needs to be more so a best friend to you, someone
yeah.
who will be there and you can be honest with, and they won't run away.
Yep.
To me,
No.
that's when you know you have something, when you can be authentically you, and they're not headed for the hills. If you have to be something for someone to stay, Yeah. If you have to be
Yeah.
something other than who you
Right.
are or have
Yeah.
something that other what you have, right? Like true
Mhm.
friendship is gonna be like there when you're up, when you're down.
Yeah.
They're there for you. It's
Yep.
you. It's not how you look. It's not what you have. It's based on who you are. Um, yeah. Then if you can't build that foundation, then run. Sex only
Yeah, I was
complicates that.
that's true. I was smiling because I was about to say nobody asked for, like, specific and unsolicited advice, but if you're listening to the podcast, here it comes. So, I
Here it
have
comes.
literally
Let's
told people,
go.
"Yeah, you wanna simplify everything? Um, do not marry that person if they are not actually, genuinely your best friend,
Mm,
period."
that's what's
And
up.
I'm talking about I've seen so many marriages where they're like, "Well, I love her, and then my best guy friend is over here."
Mm,
Right. Oh, yeah, he is an awesome husband, but, like, my girlfriend did
mhm.
this other girl is, like, my best friend. No, ma'am or sir.
Yep.
No. No, like, no way.
Yep.
My wife is my best friend, period. Like, it's like the person you wanna laugh with most, the person
Mhm.
you wanna talk with most, like, to spend the most time with. Um, that is how it should feel. That's how it can feel, and culturally, I feel like we've done this thing where we settle,
Mhm.
where we say, like, "Well, that's my best, opposite sex friend," or whatever, but not, "My best friend is this person I knew since elementary school."
Mhm.
Well, why? Like, what's going on there that because
That needs
that
to
must
be.
mean that, like, spousal relationship is missing something,
Mhm.
right? Like, what happened? And so don't settle. You do
Mhm.
not have to settle for that. If you realize that you're not best friends with this person that you are romantic with or whatever that looks like, um, you don't have to marry them. There is no cultural, like, yeah, and yeah, in fact, you don't that might not be the healthiest relationship, right? So, that's what I'm saying. And then also, like, echoing what Warren said, like, um, I think sex really comes after a full commitment, and so if
Mhm.
somebody's arguing to you, "Well, I'm fully committed," but they're not willing to combine bank accounts with you, I would
Mm.
argue they're not fully committed. If someone argues they're fully committed and ready to, uh, take from you the most precious gift, right? Then
Mhm.
and have sex with you and have sex together and combine, like, share a piece of your soul with each other,
Mhm.
but they're not willing to sign a piece of paper that says, "I'm committed forever to this thing,"
Mhm.
might I argue that, like, they're just really looking forward to having sex with you.
Mhm.
So, maybe, like Warren said, show patience, be honorable. Uh, I forget, you said a great, like, be diligent and dedicated. You said something along those lines. I was like, "That's good, man."
Discipline.
Discipline, thank you. I was like, "There's a D word, I'm waiting for it." So, be disciplined in your belief that sex is awesome,
Mhm.
but also sex is something worth waiting for and not sharing with everyone in hopes that it solidifies a relationship.
Mhm.
So, um, I know that from, firsthand experience. So, unfortunately, was not a virgin when I got married. And my wife
What?
was,
Sometimes.
but yeah, I know. But I had used sex to try to make sure
Mm.
that a relationship that felt like it was slipping away,
Mhm.
I used it to try to make sure that, we could actually solidify. And what it did is when you realize that sex isn't solidifying that relationship, it's not firming up anything, it actually makes it degrade quicker.
Mm.
Because it for me, in the relationship that I was in, it felt like sex maybe was like this last ditch effort to,
Mm.
like, make sure that this thing is gonna work and make sure that this relationship that I'm convincing myself that I really, really value and would like in the future,
Mm.
that wasn't working for
Mhm.
either of us, by the way. Like, we weren't each other's best friends. So, we weren't honestly, or at least I wasn't staying super honest in my communication about how I was feeling, about how I was being treated, and all those things, because I'm trying to maintain the relationship. I'm trying to
Mhm.
keep something together that isn't even holding itself together. So that's what I'm saying. Don't marry someone who's not your best friend, and don't have sex with someone unless they are your best friend and married to you. Those
Mhm.
two things will take you a long, long way. And if you've already stumbled like I stumbled, right? Then it isn't time to beat yourself up. It's time to maintain those standards into the next relationship. So, um, I
That's
think
good.
God can heal anything. Yeah, God's a God of healing and care, and He loves you and wants the best for you. And that's why He lays out those two very important things, I think, through even just the red letters, like we
Hmm.
talked about. So, um, I love you
Dude, that's
guys.
good.
I want the best for y'all. So
That's
maintain those
good.
two things. You're going to build a healthy foundation for a relationship. So
That's good.
yeah, man, kicking it back
Spoke
to you, big dog.
spoken through Pastor Jason here. Let's go. Let's go. Professor
Appreciate it.
Chase is
Yeah,
dropping.
yeah,
Wow. He's like, look,
yeah,
hey, show
yeah,
discipline,
yeah. Well,
self-respect, and
honestly,
that.
what I really don't want is somebody to have to walk through what I walk through. Like,
Mm,
to have to go through the opposite is much harder
hmm.
than maintaining discipline. To lose your discipline is easier short term, but it is way harder emotionally,
Mm,
spiritually long term.
mm.
So don't
Wow.
don't
So
don't make the mistakes I made.
so here's a piece where I guess I'm gonna get you to expound on, right?
Okay.
So say we're speaking to um a young couple or just a couple, right?
Right.
And they've already kind of went there. They've already
Mm,
like they went there and they're in this space and they're not there yet. But they're already
yeah.
engaging in this, right? Would your advice be to cease and desist?
Mm,
Is that even worth it if you've already broken that? Or like what would you because you've got experience talking to married couples, you've seen it, you've probably heard it.
yeah.
um I have too. I've worked with couples before. I've seen it, I've heard it, I've been through some marital storms and situations. And so what would your advice be to a young couple who are trying to figure it out? They're having sex,
Yep.
and they just don't know if it's they're their forever people. So what would you
Oh,
say
okay.
to them?
Well, so here's what I will tell you. Here's what we did say, because we did premarital counseling with a couple who, uh, and I wish I could shout them out. I don't want to. They were awesome.
They
Like,
know
they
who
were a
they are.
great. Yeah, yeah. They were so cool. And we had such a good time counseling with them. They were really receptive to what we were saying. And so
Mhm.
what we challenged them with was they had moved in together already
Mm.
out of convenience, which is like kind of this like soft lie that people tell themselves is like, well, to save money, I'm gonna do,
What's the
like
timeline on that? How long had they been
pretty.
together?
Oh, I mean, they're engaged. They were like
Okay.
living together. Like they were.
Okay.
So
So it's
we were
after
again.
the
We were
engagement.
Yes, we were doing premarital counseling with them.
Got it.
So
Okay.
this was them prepping for marriage,
Mm.
but like as it came up and as they kind of like put together the the worksheet that you do and like the information we were gathering, well, they're living together already.
Mm.
And so because of that, like just soft lie manipulation, no such thing as a soft lie, but like culturally we kind of do this. Where it's like a soft lie. It's not hurting anybody else, but that lie of convenience where like, well, my lease was up. We need to save money. We're getting married anyway.
Mm.
Well, sure enough, they stepped into the marital bed, if you will, before stepping into the marital vows. And
Mm.
so here was our challenge. Since they were already having sex, um, and their mindset toward it wasn't healthy, so they were open to some of the ideas we shared anyway,
Mhm.
in respect to them and, like, fairness to them. But what we said was, like, "There's nothing that's stopping you from recommitting to a healthier lifestyle now,"
Mhm.
right? So, what I know is true about sin is that if you've done it once,
Mhm.
it isn't okay or lack any real negative impact if you just keep doing it. The
Mm.
truth of sin is that if you have sinned and you continue to, it does compound on your life.
It does.
It does become a larger burden. It does become a habit, right? And so what our challenge for them was like, could we recommit to now if we're going to counsel with you, we're going to stop that activity. And by the way, this was an opportunity they could lie to us. Like where there's no
Mhm.
way we could like prove what they but in their eyes and in their words, we could see the commitment to we weren't asking them to move out from one another, but maybe we were saying like um move into like a I don't know, a potentially a situation where you sleep on the couch, right?
Mm.
There's practical steps you can do where like not that it's not difficult,
Mhm.
but man, is it worth it to try to maintain as much honor as you can.
Mhm.
Try to live as much like Those red letter words in the Bible say you should,
Yeah.
but premarital, right? Before your marriage and into your marriage and through the rest of your life. The point is, my advice to them was hit reset. Like, stop sleeping together. If you'll commit to it, I think your relationship will have a healthier beginning,
Mm.
because you don't have to have the guilt of, well, we slipped up. Well, or man, we just went crazy and did it. And like, see, now we don't even have to commit in marriage because we're getting all the benefits of marriage. Like, the only benefit, dude, listen, the only benefit, if you're listening, the only benefit of marriage is sex. Like, I have yet for somebody to explain to me.
He said the
Um,
only benefit.
yeah, I mean, that really seriously, like, so let's say my
Oh,
wife and
wow.
I chose to be best friends, right? We
Mhm.
could spend all our time together. We could cohabitate.
Mhm.
We can, um but let's say we're not cohabitating, because that's like the biggest temptation. We can
Mhm.
spend every minute together. We get tired. I drive home to a separate house. Next day, I text her in the morning. Maybe we eat breakfast together every day, right? Like, that sounds like that could be a very close guy friend, right? You don't know, like, you could like spend all your time together, hang out together. This could be like just your buddy, right?
Mhm.
This could, whoever, whatever sex you are, like, this could be
Mhm.
your best girlfriend, your best guy friend you just spend all your time with. Well, like, what's the difference?
Mm.
The contract being signed then says, hey, this thing called sex, that is a huge part of love, that ties
Mhm.
your souls together, that we read about in the Bible over and over and over again as a priority for a healthy relationship. This thing should come after the greatest commitment.
Ooh.
And that's to say, we're taking this beyond friendship. We are taking this into marriage vows. We are taking this into, we are tying our lives together. We're becoming a separate family from our current family.
Mhm.
We're taking this into a brand new family,
Mm.
right? Like, I am no longer tied to my mom and dad. When I start the marriage vows and end them with my wife, like, that day, you are a new family.
Mhm.
Right, and my priority is my wife and I. Now, we still love our parents, we still spend time with them. It doesn't mean you have to, like, rip those relationships out of your life or some
Yeah.
dramatic thing, but your priority is this new family you're starting before God.
Mhm.
And so, that is the challenge of or that's the benefit also of,
Yeah.
like, in that situation, hit reset. Get as
Yeah.
close to God's standard for your premarital life as you can, within the context of what you're doing. And
Yeah.
then be honest with yourself. Are you actually going back to that standard? Like, oh, we'll do our best not to sleep together, but really, are we doing our best? We're not really
Mm.
avoiding it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That kind of thing. And that's between you and God. Like, there's nothing we can do as counselors. There's nothing we can do as confidants or friends to make someone else do something. You have to choose those things.
Ooh.
Like you said, you have to be dedicated. You have to be um, kind of diligent in everything that you do.
Mm.
So, anyway, I think that is the man, the strongest thing, the best thing
Mhm.
is to do God's thing.
Come on.
Like, whatever you're going through, whatever
Let's go.
you need advice on. And so when it comes to love, oh man, the power and impact of what you're going through,
Mhm.
you need to lean in on God. And so
Mhm.
I took, again, it's way too long to answer your question, but basically, we have literally told a couple who we really care about, we really want to see them thrive, and it worked. Like, to their credit, in this specific situation, they withheld, uh, maintained sexual abstinence until they got married, and now they have a healthy marriage. And I'm not saying that what happened deserves the credit, that Delia
Mhm.
and I deserve credit, but like, it did seem to benefit their relationship to like set aside this thing and really build the friendship up.
That's good.
So, anyways, that's the advice we gave. So that's
That's
like
good.
actual practical real life situation. So
Wow.
not a metaphor or anything
Wow.
anecdotal. So
I
there
like
you
your
go.
take on what you get in marriage. I like that. I like that little the
Well,
only
hey, I
so I
mean, the
think
only
I
I can't think of yeah, I'm gonna put this to you, is that I can't think of one. Like,
Mhm.
you can do everything without real consequence. Like, biblically speaking, you can build relationship.
Mhm.
When my wife and I were engaged,
Mhm.
we spent a ton of time together, developed relationships with each other's families, all those things. Like, the thing,
Mhm.
the deepest soul connection that unlocks is sex. So
Yeah.
I just cannot think, like, you sign a marriage contract. By the way, you can share bank accounts with people,
Yeah.
right?
You
Like,
can
you
buy
could do I
property,
just right,
you
you
can
could
get in
sign off
business
on anything.
deals, you can do all kind of
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
If you're living, like, according to God's word, the thing that the marriage certificates unlock is sex.
True.
So
I
anyway,
believe, from my perspective, I believe that that's one of the main things that does, that opens up the marital bed, which the Bible says is undefiled.
yes.
It's undefiled. So, but I also believe more so on the woman's side of it, traditional man here speaking, is that marriage provides a covering for her.
Yeah.
Um, that marriage, it changes her name, it provides covering. I also, counsel men, and I tell them, when they're in relationships 4, 5, 6, 7 years, right? I'm like, do you
Mhm.
really love this woman? And they're like, yeah, I love her. No, I'm just not sure if I'll marry her yet. And I'm like, you
Right.
know what marriage means? Because obviously, like, if you're in a relationship 4, 5, 6, 7 years,
If you're in a
you're not
relationship that long.
abstaining. Let's no cap. Like, let's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
even go there, right? But
Right.
I say, do you really love this woman? Because um you may be getting what you want, and maybe she thinks she's getting what she wants, but what you're leaving her exposed to the world. Because if something happens to you, right, your parents or whoever your next of kin legally is will have more say over what happens with you and your estate that you've built than the
Right.
person you've spent your life with. And it's more than just oh, it's just a piece of paper. Well, it's a legal protection that if there's not a will, or if there's not this, everything defaults to her. It doesn't default to your family. It doesn't. So it's covering her both in life and in death.
Right.
Life insurance policies and assets, all these different things are important, right?
Mhm.
And Lord forbid you spend 10 years with somebody, you don't marry them, you die. They're not a widower. They're just, your boyfriend died. Or your girlfriend. It's you leave them
It's a
kind of
strange
like in
so
limbo.
yeah, that middle ground is hard. Also, by the way, and let me just this is I'll even challenge these people even deeper. You're dating someone for like a decade, right? And you're not married. What are you leaving the door open for?
Ooh.
Like, what are you I mean, like, no kidding. Okay, we just talked about this, right? Uh, the marriage certificate is the voter ID of marriage,
Ooh.
right? Like, why, if we're not requiring full commitment and
Mm,
full transparency, what are you leaving the door open for?
mm,
Like, what? And by the way, you could be like, well, nothing. Well, then get married. What are you doing? Like, because you said you're leaving them exposed.
mm,
So, like, what is the I don't know. I always struggle with these moments, like, and I totally hijacked your point, but I struggle with these moments where, like, somebody's rationalizing not fully committing to something,
mhm,
right? I mean, even when you go to college as a
mhm,
professor right now, they have to sign all the paperwork. They
mhm.
have to get everything done. You gotta sign papers for everything. But, like, I wanna maintain the most important relationship in my life, but I won't sign a piece of paper that, like,
Ooh.
gives them half my stuff.
Yeah.
Well, man, you only have that stuff because you work together as a team. I don't know. Like, it's so unhealthy. Like, it just
Yeah.
seems like it leaves the door open for what? And if you're rationalizing it away, maybe you wanna leave the door open for stuff.
Mm,
Like, for I can get out quick, get out of jail free card.
mm,
Like, that's why the speed dating, quick dating culture of the world where, like, swipe left, all those things,
mhm,
like, that's not creating a culture of love, I don't feel like. There's
mm.
no commitment to, like, I could just move on the next day whenever I'm tired of this.
Just
So,
move on, right? I
yeah,
guess
that's
that's
I think
the difference between
yeah,
dating and courting, right? Like
correct.
one has an intention and one has a discovery mechanism to it.
Yeah, or just
Like,
like
let
or
me
like,
discover,
well, yeah, if you're dating, you're like, "I'm just gonna, like,
have a good
try
time.
these shoes." Yeah, I'm gonna try these shoes on at the store.
Mhm,
And then to me, courting is like, I'm buying the shoes, wearing them, playing in them, and if they don't work, like, Imma make it work because I bought the shoes. Like, these are I'm
mm.
committed to these basketball shoes, and I
Ooh.
why did I make a basketball metaphor out of this? But,
Whoa,
like,
whoa,
yeah,
whoa.
you could no,
So
listen, you
so
could go to
courting
the
is you
store.
bought the shoes. You're
You bought
buying
the
the
shoes,
shoes.
man. I'm out here,
What?
and so the only thing that would make me take back this shoe while I'm courting
Mhm.
is, like, extreme. Like, the sole of the shoe falls out,
It's
or,
defective,
like,
right? You
yeah, like,
find out that the shoe's
it
been
just
manufactured incorrectly,
and boy, I was fully committed, man. I trusted the shoe, I bought it, I played
and it
basketball in
fell
it,
apart.
and it just blew out, and I'm like, "Oh, well, whoops." I mean, like, so
Whoa.
there are things that can happen in
Mm,
reality, right?
mhm.
But when I agreed to start courting my wife, we didn't date, we started courting, and
Okay.
to us, this was like well, how we say it is courtship is like deciding
Courtship.
if yeah, courtship, what we think it is like deciding we're spending enough time, but we're both going in with the idea we think we'd like to be married already. Like
Mm,
we're spending time because we've seen something in each other that's like, let's get to know, spend a little more time, get closer and know each other better. But like already we're at a place because we've spent time developing a friendship outside of the courtship aspect, outside of the
mhm,
dating. See, this is where dating is like, I show up, I've never met you before, and we're like blind dating.
mhm,
That's kinda how people think of dating is like, well, we're just getting to know each other, cool.
mhm,
Well, like, I had this friendship through friend groups, through hanging out with my eventual wife before we even started courting. So for
mhm,
courtship, it was like, "Oh, no, I see something particularly special in you. You see something particularly special in me. We're now committing to, like, should all things go well, should I have bought these shoes and play well
mm,
in them and, like, they don't blow out, even if I'm not playing well, even when things get hard, I'm saying I'm committing to these shoes.
mm.
I'm committing to this courtship that like we're going to the next level and we're going to try to win a championship together. So,
Can't you court for like 10 years though? Can't you? What's wrong with that?
well, because that's not
To
what do
be
you that's
devil's
not really
advocate.
courtship. No, no, that's not really courtship, is it?
Because
Like,
that's the like people worry about the timeline. They're like,
yeah,
well, 4 years. I'm still trying
figure
to
things
figure
out.
out if the
No, you're running from something. If it's
mm,
so listen, our courtship was 6 months, got engaged, and we would have got married sooner than we did, except we were just trying to land it on a 13th because we started courting on April 13th, got engaged October 13th. So we just found the first 13th that was on a Saturday, and that was
mm.
June 13th of the next year. But like when you know, you know. You
So
don't
this is
need all that time.
like um from the moment you met,
No, no, no.
build a
No, we met
friendship,
no,
then
November
courted,
of
then married.
no, no, no. Hold on. November of '07, got to know each other. About February of '08, we're like,
Okay.
"Oh, special, special." Like, I was already but, like, we started both agreeing that, like, this could be something special. April 13th of '08, met with her parents, agreed to courtship, like, talked to the mom and dad
Mhm,
went through the hard conversation, right? What's your past? What
mhm.
are your expectations with my daughter? By October 13th, both of our families were waiting for us at the house to celebrate our engagement, which she had no idea about. So that was our 6-month
Okay.
anniversary. Then we just looked at a calendar and we're like, what's the Saturday that's a 13th where people can get together? Because it's cute that we did 13th. So from met November of '07, married June of '09. Like, didn't make it 2 years. Not we were not 2 years from meeting one another to married to knowing we wanna spend forever
Mm,
together.
that's
So
good.
if you need to court for 4 years,
Whoa.
boy, TikTok, like, what is happening? So, maybe this is rude for me to I just feel so passionate about this. Maybe this is the episode I've been the most rude to people. Like, I'm like,
Maybe
"Look, man,
hey, this we
like,
kinda let
hard
God lead
truths."
this episode, just like, "Hey, here
Yeah,
you go, it's just
like
gonna go." Like,
dude, we're
"Whoa."
w stop. If you're recording that long, either it's what is it, like, get I forget what's the phrase. I'm losing it now. This is embarrassing. On the pod live, guys. It's,
Live from the
uh,
pod.
you know, poop or get off the pot kinda thing, but it's
Mhm.
gross. I don't mean like that. But whatever that phrase is, like,
Yeah,
get married or don't
or
get
don't.
married, but don't drag your feet and let's pretend and by the way, this is with the caveat of saying, like, everyone has their particular situations.
Mhm,
If you're military and you're traveling and, like, that's why you're not engaged because 'cause you're deployed for a year and you're just like, I get it.
mhm,
But what I'm saying is, if you know you're dragging your feet because of fear, if you know you're dragging your feet because of uncertainty, well, don't put the other person through that. Don't
mhm,
put each other through that. Like, if you're not sure and you know that you're not sure and you're not gonna be sure, don't just stay together for comfort's sake.
mm,
Like, because you can find a relationship where you are best friends, where you communicate honestly, and where you can glorify God in what you're doing.
mm.
Bam. That's my mic drop for the episode. Thank you guys for coming to my TED Talk.
Wow.
So,
I
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know. I mean, Jason, this has been a phenomenal conversation, but
yeah.
I feel like this I don't know if we're done. I mean, I feel like,
Okay.
I mean, I think there may be like a love 2 in this,
Okay.
coming up in this,
Yeah, we've started
so if
enjoying
you're
the
a person who watches the
multi-parters.
podcast and you leave comments, I mean,
Yeah,
you know,
answer some of those. So you have more questions, so maybe next episode will be a love part
I
2.
mean, you're just a wealth of knowledge here.
Nah,
Well,
it's
we're just bouncing off each
we're
other, wealth
us.
of knowledge here.
Yeah. So,
Class is in
I
session.
we've hit on a topic that I'm passionate about
Mhm.
because I've had such an awesome relationship,
Mhm.
but I had maybe relationships before where I was responsible for them not being awesome,
Whoa.
or in the relationship,
You
we were not awesome together,
you're digging in my
right?
territory.
Well, no,
I'm a
no, listen,
professor on
hold
that
on.
end.
You're getting a lot of people. We're getting a lot of people's territory, right? Either of you or both of you can be the issue together. But
Mhm.
even though that's true, you can also then move to a relationship that's healthy,
Mm.
that you are best friends, that you don't just think each other are hot and you
Mhm.
just, uh, think you had one good conversation, now you're in love. Like
Mhm.
you can commit to a thing that's deeper. So let's do that. Let's commit to love part 2. We'll come back to it. Um, if you got anything else, man, I can pray us out.
Dude, mic drop.
That's it?
That's
Okay.
it.
All right. Hey, man, I appreciate you, brother. All right. God, we just thank you so much for the ability to come together and talk about the ways that you've shaped us, the ways that you've built us, the way that you have applied and left us with a God shaped hole in our life that can only be filled with you, God. I thank you for every person listening, that they would have healthy love relationships, that whatever relationship in their life is a struggle right now, that you would begin to bless that relationship and heal it, God. I just thank you so much for the ability to have these conversations and make ourselves available to anyone who might be able to hear more about you, not about us, but about you, God. We just thank you so much for who you are and all you do. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Amen, brother.
And that
All
was
right,
good.
man. We'll see you on the next one, buddy. Love
Yeah.
part
See
2.
you next part 2. We'll see you next one. Yeah,
It'll be
let's
good,
go.
bro. All right.